Dave,
Yes, sir.
why can't you hear pterodactyls go to the bathroom?
Why is that?
Because the P is silent.
That's pretty funny. Art, want to hear a joke about construction?
Sure.
I'm still working on it. And by the way, these aren't prescription classes. I'm struggling to read.
Dave, what do you call a factory that makes okay products?
What?
A satisfactory.
Oh, nice. Art, did you hear about the guy that invented lifesavers?
I did not.
He made a mint.
Good for him. How does a penguin build its house?
How's that?
It glues it together.
Nice. How do you organize a space party?
I don't know how.
Art, you plan it.
I'm playing it. Nice. Nice.
There, that's awkward.
There you go. Dave, hey, I just want to take a second and thank you for being here.
Sure.
And as I know you're a busy guy and you got a couple things going
Yes.
on at any given moment. So appreciate you being here. Just wanted you to come in and we talk a little bit about Loveland, and we talked to a number of businesses and civic organizations and things, but would love to hear your input kind of from a government
Right.
and a council and a city standpoint. So. But is everything going well?
Yeah, it's going
Yeah?
good.
Good.
We've been, City Council actually is pretty unique. Over the course of from 2019 to 2022, they did 4 master plans, and that's a pretty big deal for the city. And every one of those plans, in one way or another, is in the works. It's not uncommon for cities to do master plans and sort of sit them on the shelf. Ours are very much working plans. As specific as a plan just for Nisbet Park, and if you've seen that, you can stand there with that Nisbet Park master plan and see exactly how we're following it. City also did a downtown streetscape plan, how the sidewalks should look, what the streetscaping should look. And then the city also did a downtown plan, but the biggest thing was they did a comprehensive master plan. And out of that master plan came basically a call to redo Loveland Madeira Road. You've certainly seen it over your years. I grew up on Corrine Avenue on the west side, so I know what it's like when they get tired and they need a freshness, and that is what the city is in the works with now. It's a big part of what we're doing. It's been broken into 3 phases. It's, let's just say, $10 to $12 million total. City's already received grant funding for 2 portions of it, and that'll actually begin in latter part of 26. So that's a big part of it. And I think that the city has invested heavily in the downtown district and for the parking and for Nisbet. And I think we're at a point now where you can see that they're really branching out. The city has focused heavily on the Loveland Heights. You know all about that. And made significant changes in the Loveland Heights. Actually sold property, city property in the Loveland Heights, took those funds and put it in a grant program to help people make exterior improvements to their house. That particular project is now getting ready to be redeveloped for new housing, some nice affordable housing in that area. City has just did a massive water main replacement in the Heights, and it needed a jump start, and I think that was a big deal for council to take that on. So that is a big part of what they're doing. I think the downtown is really clicking. We've got some major construction. We're building a brand new fire station. We're going to repurpose the current fire station. I can't announce yet, but I think the business that's looking to go in there is something that the city is going to be very excited about. That's we really tip of the hat to LSFD, because them maintaining the building the way they did has made that a great thing for us to be selling. And so that's sort of on the horizon. I think you've seen, we knew that when we added a new parking lot, we would be adding parking, we sort of figured it, but it's changed all of how traffic flowing. People are using that as the way to come in and out. It used to be if you wanted to go to downtown Loveland, where do you go? You went to Paxton's, took a left. Well, not anymore. The city widened Harrison, they include the turn radius, so people are coming that way. We added an arrow. So traffic in the downtown district is really improving significantly in addition to parking. And I think then the city's also looking at how we improve traffic throughout the rest of the city. Something that our city council does is pretty unique, is every 2 years we go away for the day and we do a retreat. And the best way to say it is they set the city manager's agenda for the next 2 years. They establish their goals. Every quarter, the city manager and the staff goes and tells them what we've done in terms of their goals. So that's a big part of what they do, and that's sort of the leadership that is put to us by city council.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a couple things, and you talk about like doing the sewer lines and the water lines and things like that. Those are the things that are not very sexy,
No,
right?
no.
But you clearly want to make sure you're on top of them,
Yes.
right? I'm sure somewhere in the city there's some lines that are maybe due to be replaced because they've been there for a long time. So I'm sure it's from your standpoint, the city's standpoint, it's a huge headache when they fail. Right. So that's great you're getting in there. The one thing I did notice, and I will say that, I can't wait to hear the announcement about what's going on at the fire station. I'll look forward to that one. But we might have to have a follow-up.
Yeah.
But the other thing I did notice, came back from vacation and the building, I believe
The old mirror factory.
the mirror factory. Thank you, Distachi. I was going to try and say the name, but I noticed it was halfway gone when we got back from vacation. And now it's gone. So there's some interesting things going on at that intersection. You want to
that sort of falls into play with what the city is doing, and to fully revitalize Loveland Madeira Road. We identified 2 key properties. So the city has owned the Chestnut Street property, I think, since the 60s. And it was a brownfield, in lack of better words, the soils were a mess. So the city got a $3 million brownfield grant, and that property has been fully remediated. Basically, the soils have been cleaned and so on and so forth. I always say that piece of property, the Chestnut Street property, had 3 problems. It was a brownfield, it had no access to Loveland Madeira Road, and quite frankly, it's a darn big hole. 2 of those problems have been taken care of. Come December, the city will receive what's called a no further action letter from EPA, which is saying you're done here. And the city bought what was called the old Brogan property, and we removed that structure to create access back to the Chestnut Street. The city was able to get a grant, obviously for the brownfield. The city was able to get a grant to buy the Brogan property and to demolish the Brogan property. The city also got a grant to purchase the Denise Mirror Factory building, and we got grant funding to take it down. That is Hamilton County's way of sort of reinvesting in the city when it comes to economic development. They gave those dollars to the city because they feel that it will lead to new jobs, new revenue, not just for the city, but for the Hamilton County. So that was a big part of it. The Denise Mirror Factory building was getting a lot of interest from people, but the interest and the end result was not necessarily going to be something that would have been best for the corridor. A reuse of the building was maybe good 8 years ago. It had long since passed. So the city recognized that, got in there, was able to purchase it. Before we bought the property, we actually had an environmental company drill through the floor, so we knew what the soils were. We bought it fully knowing that we were also going to get in there and remediate the soils. And I think when we repurpose that property versus someone coming in and fixing the roof and shoving buildings in there that might not, that property is right where the roundabout, which is sort of the key feature of that. So I think the city is taking the initiative, not only through getting funding to do the streetscapes and the water lines and burying the electric lines, all of the things that go with a streetscape project, but they're also getting in and being aggressive in terms of identifying properties that they should purchase, that they can get grant funding for, and raise the structures and start over. So between Chestnut, the Brogan property, and the Denise property, the city has owned Chestnut. They've acquired the other properties. Sometimes it's simply addition by subtraction.
Sure.
I think that building being gone and the interest that the city is receiving on that property, once it went down, is pretty significant. The fact that the city was able to get the grant, to get the property through grants, we can be patient. We don't have a loan payment that we need to make from a finance standpoint. So we can be as patient as we want. And all of that really comes down to basically city council. They sort of give freedom to staff to go out and find the monies. My new assistant city manager, maybe he's not new anymore, Chris Weinich, he is wonderful at that. And everyone figures out a way to do it. Our city engineer, she's also new, is also working at it. Everyone, getting grant funding out there is, you owe it to your residents, because in most cases you're sort of bringing their tax dollars back, be it a county grant, a state grant, or federal grant, in one way or another. It's our residents' tax dollars.
Let me give you a shout out here,
Yeah.
okay? You know, I mean, we met with Mayor Bailey not too long ago.
yeah.
Matter of fact, you know, this is Tuesday, August 12th.
Right.
So this will come out in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks, right? But you know, we met with, you know, and we gave you a shout out because, you know, you're the master grant writer. Okay, so let's be clear, you say the city and things like that, but I think one of your really good attributes is the fact that you are a very good grant writer and you've done a fantastic job of going to find those grants. So how many jobs can you actually look at? How many projects can you look at? And it has been the big chunk of it, or it has been paid for with grant money. So, you know, as a taxpayer, that's huge.
There's no special skill. It's just, I came from a former community that we didn't have the financial resources of Loveland, and we learned there in my former community to figure out a way to get funding to do projects, because likely they would not have been able to be done. And that's sort of where you sort of learn things, just by realizing there's funding out there. You just have to jump in, read through it. You may strike out the first time, but call the people that didn't fund you and ask them, hey, where did I fail?
Sure.
They're more than happy to tell you why you didn't get the grant the first time. And that's the best learning process. It's sometimes a little bit of a humbling discussion, but you quickly realize, oh, I forgot that, I didn't do that. Needed more letters of this, should have reached out to congressmen and get some more letters of support and so on.
Let me ask you one more question.
Yeah.
So let's say we're looking 5 or 10 years forward from now. You know, what would make, and from a city of Loveland standpoint, what would make you happy? What would you walk out and I don't know when you can retire, and I'm not going to put the fire under your feet, but you know, what is it that you walk away and say, okay, I'm very happy that we were able to get this accomplished in the next several years?
I think that right now, I think I've had the opportunity with council and with the staff, I feel like we've made a difference in the downtown district. I think we've nipped away at a lot of things that needed to be done. Little things like hiring a young kid, he's actually a Loveland graduate, who does nothing but spend his day down there, and he does the mowing and the trimming. It's at that point where it needs somebody that's his job. Matt is just great. I think addressing problems, I think listening to people in terms of, hey, parking and traffic. And I think that has been a big deal. I think that what the difference we've made there, I guess if I come back after I'm retired and I get invited back, I'd love to drive down Loveland Madeira Road someday and say, okay, it's come a long way from where it was, and the corresponding public investment was followed by private investment, and that the city did all the things. We put in a community entertainment district there, and I think that would be it. I would say one of the things that me personally that I'm most proud of is that I think the residents of the city are treated, we are very responsive. I feel like we are very responsive. You send an email from something as small as a stop sign to a dead animal in the road, you'll most likely get a response. You may likely get a phone call. And that's not just me, that's everybody who works for the city. I don't know that I could work for a community that was so big that you couldn't have that interaction with the residents. It's part of the fun. Even when they're mad as hell about a utility bill.
People are mad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that is the thing that I think I enjoy the most about the job. Gotcha. Is that you get to deal with residents. Right now, the city is focusing on building sidewalks. And you hear from residents, hey, those sidewalks are wonderful now, but it's too dark. Wow, that means you're using the sidewalks. We'll work with Duke and we'll get lights installed. I think I think the fact that the residents have a voice is a big deal, and I think that's something that will take with me. And obviously, I would think this is the last community I'll work in.
great.
I've been
But
doing
I
this.
like what you said. You spend the money what you need to spend it on, but then hopefully that brings in the private investment.
Yeah.
And I'm with you 100% on that. So once again, I have a huge appreciation for what you're doing. So if no one has said it to you, thank you
Yeah, thanks.
for what you guys have been
Yeah.
doing. And again, it's one person's opinion, but and I made the comment to Mayor Bailey that if you want to turn the corner on the Loveland Madera and go all the way to 275,
Right.
knock yourself out.
Right.
Not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but no, thank you for everything you've done. And thank you again for taking the time to be here. I would love the fact if we could have you here just periodically, because a lot of things, the mayor has a way of saying things and looking at things, and you have your own, and that's perfect. So
Yeah, Mary,
thank you.
She's great to work with.
Yeah,
she really has been.
She's a fantastic lady.
Yeah,
she's a fun lady.
She's
so, yeah.
fun. We talk regularly, and I've been in public service for 41 years, and I've worked with a lot of mayors. And Kathy and I we're friends. She's certainly not afraid to kick me in the butt when I need a kick in the butt, and I need it. She's a good lady. Public officials, elected officials for cities, they're not doing it for the money.
Yeah,
Kathy
that's right.
She's a
No
good,
comment.
She's a good lady, and she puts a lot of time in. So.
Good. Well, again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks
you
very much. Thanks for being here.
Yep,
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So Art, we bought a couple of stuff from Jungle Gym, and the first item that we got is a chocolates. The chocolates that we have is the Pop Rocks inside of the chocolate. We got also camel milk chocolate. We got also Dubai chocolate. People used to talk about that all the time. What I'm looking forward to is the chili flavored chocolate.
All right.
So
yeah, this could be interesting.
Exactly. Art, I'm gonna have you ask true or false questions to Dave. And if you get all right, then he's going to pick whatever he wants. But if he get one question wrong, then he's got to try the chili chocolate.
All right, David. So let's see here. First finance question. True or false? It's more important to put away more money later than it is to start putting your money away earlier.
False.
You are correct.
Correct.
Well done.
Yes.
Well done. All right. So, David, compound interest is considered the eighth wonder of the world.
False.
I say true.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
You consider the fact that the compounding interest, not only are you compounding on interest on your beginning money, but you're also compounding interest on your interest.
Okay.
Right. So it's very interesting. Like you look at someone that maybe bought Procter and Gamble stock back in the '60s. They have huge dividend yields, or
Right.
that they receive, and that's because of the growth in the stock and then the compounding of the interest on there. So I have heard it called the eighth wonder of the world, and I always call it the eighth wonder of the world, just because it's amazing. Like you asked the first question, it's if you start later in life trying to save for retirement, it's a much bigger struggle than it is when you start earlier and you have an extra 10 years of compound interest on what you're trying to do. So maybe that's not a really fair question, but I call it the eighth wonder of the world. Yeah, exactly. So the S&P 500 index, you're familiar with?
Yes.
Okay. At some times has less than 500 companies in it.
True.
False.
Oh,
Sorry.
so I'm eating chocolate chili.
That's right. So I'm betting here that we need you to eat some chocolate somewhere along the line. So yeah, okay. There you go. Lynn Chili Dark Chocolate.
It's not bad.
No, it's very good. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah, I'm a huge chocolate fan, and this is very good. I was worried that it was going to be really spicy, but it's just got a little extra something to it. So, very good.
Yeah.
Here, I'll go. You go with that one.
This is the Dubai chocolate.
How is it?
Not as good as the chili one.
Not as good as the chili one. All right, here we have the camel milk chocolate, and it has the word chocolate in it, so yeah. And there's roasted almond in it too, so it's got a little surprise to it. Very, very good. Very good. All right. So this one here is called Maybe Moon Rocks. And I believe it has Pop Rocks on the inside.
Pop
of it.
Rocks,
Yeah, so this is, we're gonna, I don't know about you, but we're going back to my childhood here with Pop Rocks. There we go. Exactly as described.
Yep.
Milk chocolate truffle bar with moon rocks on the inside. I would buy it.
Yep.
No, this is good. So,
That would be the second one.
no, second one. So
Chili.
chili first.
Yeah, chili
and
was first.
There you go. Yeah, very good. So David, this is, we act a little goofy and then we get
Yeah,
some good
gotcha.
information in the middle. But this is a little bit of a finance show too. So I hear you actually have a finance question for us.
So our big event of our big family event of this year was my son got married, and he's a police officer down in Kentucky, and it's a big deal for our family this year. We have 2 children, and he was the first one to get married. So I was trying to come up with a question, and I thought about I thought the real life was that here they are, they live in an apartment in where he's a police officer, and they're trying to figure out a way to justify how much money do they need to buy a house. They obviously, hopefully, are working on the children thing. We would certainly like to have a grandchild. But that whole question of is how much is too much in terms of the down payment? Are there programs, maybe in Kentucky or Ohio, that help first-time home buyers? But trying to justify and explain to them their total cost and how long-term it'll be a benefit to to paying the amount of money they pay every month in rent.
Right.
So it's a big deal. This will be their first house, and they're struggling with it. They're looking to me for advice, and I'm coming up a little empty.
Okay.
So I thought, here you go.
Well, good. I mean, there's a lot of layers to that question. Number one, I'm a big fan of you always invest in yourself. Okay, so I'm a big fan of if you can work it and you can come up with a down payment for a house and you can afford the monthly payment, most certainly do it, right? It's great that you have a place to live in an apartment or something like that, but you're giving your money to someone else. Okay, so so number one is kind of there's some ratio analysis, and I think the banks look at things a little different way. How what you're able to put down. So let's say, and what you're able to afford every month. So let's say 0.3% of your mortgage and your utilities and your insurance and things like your house related things. If that monthly expense is 0.3 or less, you're in good shape.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's a very conservative number, but that's what the banks, they want to see somewhere around there. Now they also take it up to 0.36%, where that's a whole lot more other expenses and things like that. And to me, yet still, and banks. This is probably no surprise to you, but banks are inherently conservative, so they want 110% collateral, and they want to, you have a risk default and all those kinds of things. So if you're within those ratios, you're in great shape. But yeah, and having that asset making a monthly payment, that helps you with your credit score.
Right.
So now your credit score is going up, and that's the other thing. If they have a decent credit score, let's say 760 or so, they're going to probably get a favorable rate anyway on the things that they're purchasing. So hopefully I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's and also the standpoint. And you said he's going to be a police officer.
He is a police officer.
There might be some programs within there.
Yeah.
That he might be able to utilize within the whole police and fire kind of thing.
He got his degree in criminal justice, and they down there, the Lexingtons and the Louisvilles grab him pretty quick right out of EKU, and he's a police officer. He's been one for 4 or 5 years now. He just got married this summer. It's a big deal for our family.
Well, it's exciting times, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you and I were in our 20s once.
Yeah.
Twice.
He
3
married
times.
up. He married up. She's a good lady.
Is that right?
Yeah,
well, we all did, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's right.
He definitely married up.
Exciting times. I mean, it's maybe a little stressful
Yeah.
because babies and all these new adult things that are coming down the line.
Right.
But number one, that's kind of my answer to that question, quick and dirty. Number two, we wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, he's a great kid.
Good.
He's really a good kid.
All right.
This is all he's ever wanted to be, was a police officer from the youngest of age.
Well, good. We need some good police
Yeah,
officers, so that's
yes,
good.
He's
All
a
right.
great kid.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
thanks a lot.
Appreciate
Art.
it.
So,
So when you're looking to buy a house, there is multiple different ways to be prepared to buy a house. I always recommend setting a budget that you want to spend on your total household expenses and not wavering too far from that. You'll get pre-approved for way more than you should probably be able to afford, and you don't want to use that number that the bank will give you. You want to set the number, and then you want to practice for a couple months. I always recommend 3 to 6 months, living off the total expenses that you plan on spending on your home expenses. And if you're capable of doing that for 3 to 6 months, then you can definitely afford the house that you plan on moving into. So another aspect of it is a top tier credit score in the eyes of mortgage companies and lenders is 760 and above, and that gets you the best rate possible. If you're in the area of like 740, 720, pretty much anything with a 7 in front of it, you're in pretty good shape. So I always recommend calculating your estimated home expenses when you're trying to save up 3 to 6 months prior to see if you're able to afford the house. I always include the mortgage payment, the interest, the utilities that you'll have to pay, HOA fees, and property taxes. And if you're able to save the remainder minus what you're paying in rent already, then you should be comfortable buying the house. If you have any more financial questions, do not hesitate to reach out to Jarvis Global Investments.
All right, Dave, one more time, just thank you so
Okay,
much for
thanks.
being here
Thanks for
on
inviting me, Art.
the Loveland Exchange. This is going to be somewhere between episode 7 and 12.
Okay.
So this seems like it might be becoming a thing. So not only just thank you for joining us on the Loveland Exchange, but please, if you watch it, if you have questions or comments, please, number 1, like it. Number 2, share it. And number 3, make some comments and things. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.